guys, my name is Tumisopito. I'm a fifth year medical student now in the University of Botswana. Did you all catch the difference? Fifth year, no more fourth year. Yeah, so I just completed my fourth year in the University of Botswana and we're currently on our holidays. So I'll be moving on to my fifth year in August, basically completing the 6 years in the University of Botswana of my undergraduate degree, basically. Yeah, so I just thought that I would make a video. You'll have probably seen all the other videos whereby I was doing I was studying and all that stuff, putting in the work, by the way, just so putting in the work, just so yeah, we put in all that work, and I just want to really show that all that hard work really comes to something, like it produced the results. But the reality of university is that sometimes it doesn't produce the results that you expected. But yeah, I'm very happy about my results, and yeah, hard work does pay, guys. Hard work and what does the internet say? Hard work and smart work or whatever. Hey, working hard and smart, it does work in the end. So basically, I'll be discussing about all the four rotations. Oh my gosh, all the four rotations that I did, the mark that I got, how I feel about those marks. Since y'all have already seen the previous parts where I was talking about my results and how I basically in the end felt about not the results, about the exam, and how my feelings about the exam and during the exam, as you saw in the videos. So yeah, let's hop into it. So let me start with internal medicine. So yeah, with internal medicine, what did I get? Drum roll, 81. So basically it's just 81 overall, not 81 in my exam specifically. So let me tell you how I basically felt about internal medicine. So the way the exam was structured was that it was out of 150 marks, but then there were 130 questions which are multiple choice. And for those that, honestly, for those that remember those BGCSE, PSLE, and JC multiple choice sheets, those ones which we used to shade in, that was the issue with internal. Like, there were just 130 questions to shade into that paper, and you have to shade properly. You don't shade over the box, across the box, and all that stuff. So that was a problem. Anyways, we had to shade those 130 questions into that answer sheet with only 20 questions which were just written. So basically by the 2-hour mark I had only answered 80 questions. I didn't answer the other, what's 150 minus 80, whatever it is. Whatever it is, like 70, so I basically didn't have 70 marks secured yet, and it's not like you're gonna get everything correct. So I was definitely panicking when by the 2-hour mark I was just at around question 80. So in Tumiso fashion, I ran through 50 questions, made sure to shade 50 questions in 30 minutes, and I was just reading and then answer. If there's 2 points or 2 answers which I think I just pick one of them, you know what, leave it all to God. So that's basically what I did. And the structured questions were very easy, and it wasn't much to write, so that wasn't a problem. But we still got 81 at the end of the day. I'm so grateful. So yay, let's move on to the next one. So the next exam is, which one should I say? Psychiatry. Let's go on to psychiatry. So psychiatry was obviously my favorite rotation. That was the time when I started vlogging, when I started making videos. Psychiatry was really everything. So basically, apart from the rotation itself, with the exam, that's the one, oh my gosh, English just left the chat. Anyways, that's the exam which you saw me studying for in my videos. The sentence. Did you see that? So that's the one which you saw me study for in my videos. So I remember the first video, I was studying a week before, we were studying psychiatry. Then the second video also, we are studying psychiatry during the exam and about to write the psychiatry exam. So basically we had studied it so much, like we were so saturated, we were so ready, like what did I expect? So in the end we got an 8. I got an 81. Yay! Yeah, we got an 81 in psychiatry, and I'm so happy because at least my marks reflected how much I really loved that rotation. Like, that was literally the best rotation. I would give it a 9.5. Am I gonna become a psychiatrist in the future though? Probably not. But I really did enjoy it, and it reflected in my marks, and we were so well prepared for that exam, and I was so ready, So yeah, everything went well with that, and happy to close the chapter on psychiatry. Then next rotation. So my next rotation on my next exam is public health. So public health was a ride, guys. It was a roller coaster, I won't lie. There was a lot going on, like yeah. So basically with public health is very boring. I think I've mentioned this in the vlog already. Public health is very, very boring. I know that there are some people who consider it nice, and that's fine. The Lord has blessed you with that specific field to love, but basically that's not my cup of tea at all. So basically with public health, we were studying for it. It needed a chemist. We needed to be cramming those things, but when you know a concept in general, but you don't know like the specifics of that concept, but the exam is gonna want you to give the specifics of that concept. That's what was going on at the time. And I remember the way we were traveling Tebi, like we were like, Tebi, like on the way to the exam, we're like, Tebi, like what is the steps to this? What is the steps to that? Tebi, what about this? What about that? Tebi. Because my girl Tebi, she came through. Honestly, she had just completed public health, so she was the one who was honestly carrying us all the way through that whole studying and whatever. By the end of it, I still didn't know the specifics of many things, but Tebi really did help. You see, studying in a group, Tebi really did help. And in the end, like the things that we were asking Tebi and some of the things that we did, they actually appeared in the exam. And some of the things that we were suspecting what they might come out, they actually came out in the exam. So I'm so happy. Guys, because when I tell you the number of things that they could have released, and the structure of the paper was 60. I forgot to do the structure. So the structure of the paper was 60 marks, multiple choice, 40 marks structured. Then here's where they did us dirty. So the structure was like out of 40 or 40 marks. So those 40 marks were divided into, like, our rotation in general was divided into 2 weeks. 6 weeks divided into 2 weeks of like touching different public health concepts. So they basically divided those 40 marks into 10 mark questions, of which each 10 marks represented a 2 weeks, which we did. I don't know if I'm making sense at this point, but you know what? Y'all will just take that. Anyways, so it was divided into those 10 mark questions, which basically were mimicking some sort of essay, those essays that we used to write in senior school and in junior school and all that. Why is it giving moral education and we're in uni? Anyways, so they divided those, and then like each and everyone was covering that specific thing, and there were some questions where I didn't know properly. I didn't know. I was just using my mind. I didn't know what the notes said or whatever, but and then there was some way I knew, but then the marking scheme wasn't fair. They were basically demanding us to pour our hearts, pour everything we know into this topic for like small nyana marks. So public health was definitely a ride, but in the end I scored 80. I scored 80 in public health, and I'm so grateful. We saw it went well for an exam that was so chaotic. It definitely went extremely well, and once again I thank God. Let's have a little chat about surgery. So, hey guys, I can't pronounce surgery for my life. Surgery. Anyways, y'all will just take it as is. So, with surgery, it was divided again into ENT, ophtha, and ortho. There's the 1,000th time I've been repeating this throughout my videos. Yeah, so it was divided onto those 3 subspecialties under surgery. Hey. Anyway, under surgery. So with ENT, for this rotation, let me say for this rotation as a whole, I was prepared for it because it was our first exam, so I definitely studied in depth for it and I prepared as much as I could for this exam. So as I went through the exam, basically, like, it went pretty well. I really thought I was eating, thought I really ate in that exam, but then there were a few other issues on the side, if you know, there were a few other issues on the side, which led to basically an inflation of marks, which basically led to us overall not doing well in the exam. Because the way we do it here in medicine, or the way it's done, basically, how should I put it, to assess the quality of the exam, because the exam also needs to be a good quality exam, right? So to assess that quality, we basically do what the words are not okay. So basically what I'm trying to say is, the way it goes is that we do something similar to what Botswana Examinations Council did with all our written examinations. So to maintain the quality of the examinations, sometimes, let me put it this way, sometimes some exams may be harder, some exams may be easier as compared to the previous years. So in order to mitigate this, they basically do this thing whereby they put our results on a curve. I think you've heard this from other students who study abroad, they usually talk about their results being in a curve and all that. So yeah, they basically put our results on some sort of curve, or they plot our results, and then they see how much people have passed or how much people have failed, and then they adjust the marks accordingly. So let me get an example. Let's take an example with, let's say surgery, our marks were in the 60s and the 50s. So if our marks were in the 60s and the 50s, they're going to plot the results, and then they'll do whatever they do and see if they put in +5 or they put in +10 based on how much we've passed or failed. Because this has happened in my first year. I remember there was one exam that we did so badly in, we were mostly in the 50s, most of us were in the 50s, and then in the end they gave us a +9. And that boosted us to the 60 somethings after they standardized the test, So they also do basically similar things at back and all that. So that's how those results be going up and down anyhow, even though the exam was easy. So so that's basically what they did, because there was a little bit of that happened. There was a little bit of that happened. The marks ended up getting so inflated. So because the marks got inflated like that, that's probably what brought all of our marks down in the end. But anyways, I still got a 79, so I'm really happy. I'm really happy about how it turned out, and it all worked out in the end. But I still wanted that 80 because the exam was easy. The thing is, the exam was easy. I prepared for the exam so hard. But anyways, it's fine. It's honestly fine, and I've made peace with it, but still. Anyway, so that's it with my results. I'm really happy about how my results turned out. And just as a side note, it hasn't really been like this all the time. Medicine is honestly a roller coaster, But I'm really grateful for it, I really performed, and the results are really popping, But there's times, first year medicine was a lot. Honestly, since I'm on that, I should honestly do an expectations versus reality video, something of that sort, to discuss how, the course goes, and how, what you expect isn't really what you get. Because my marks were literally drowning in first year. They weren't drowning too badly, but it was really a big shift from what I'm used to getting. So it hasn't really been like, 80s all the time. Even second year, it wasn't all 80s all the time, But I'm really grateful that, I'm going on to my 5th year, and I've really caught on to the vibe, I'm already sure about how it goes, and I really know how to study now and how to go about stuff. So I'm really happy, and I'll be graduating in a year, becoming a fully fledged doctor, So thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I have a few videos lined up. And I also, like things like how to get into medicine, that expectations versus reality video. I have things lined up, so I just need to get to editing. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.